Today we would like to introduce an upgraded version of the camera housing for Sony A7 III and A7R III, and we'll talk a little bit about what has been upgraded from the previous model to the new model. So visually right away you can see the difference. Now there's an additional 2 fiber optic ports to connect your fiber optic cables. And the second difference is the Syncro port location and cold shoe mount has switched places. In the previous version of this camera housing, the only way to trigger underwater strobes was to use a Syncro cord, which is a Nikonos type connection Syncro cord. The cord itself is not cheap, and the strobes that work with this kind of cord are starting at 600 USD and higher. So, just like the previous version of the camera housing, the new version 3 has the connection Syncro port for the Syncro cable. In addition to that, there's a fiber optic ports to connect your fiber optic cables. The cables are used for connection are typical CNC type plug-in cables, and also to use the strobe you will need a flash trigger like this to send the signal to the strobes. Despite having those multiple accessories, this is still cheaper than using a Syncro cord. There are also some difference on the inside of the new version compared to the older version. I'm gonna take a look at it now. When I open the older version, you see the cable which is connected to the Syncro port is fixed in position. In the new version, this cable can be removed and no longer be annoyance to you while you're closing the camera housing. So you can, if you don't use the Syncro cable and using only the fiber optic way of triggering your strobes, you can set it aside. And now we would like to demonstrate how it works. So in order to wire up the strobes, you need to use the flash trigger. Flash trigger is connected directly to the camera hot shoe. Make sure the flash trigger is on, and we proceed to insert the camera inside the camera housing. Just as in the previous version of the camera housing. We can close the camera housing, turn the camera on, make a test. Then we will connect 2 strobes via fiber optic cable. So this is the CNC type plug connection, and this is the in-on L-shape connection. But depending on the strobe you use, it can also be CNC type connection on both ends. Speaking of the strobes for only fiber optic cable starting at a lot cheaper price than the ones that work with the Syncro cord. In conclusion, as we all know, underwater the light is very crucial for underwater photographers to achieve incredible results. So this is why we made this upgrade to have a budget-friendly option to use inexpensive strobes to get those amazing results.